Hello everyone, and welcome to this admittedly belated update video for the month of August. Hopefully you're keeping fairly well. I am reasonably fine, but I am in the midst of a self-imposed social media exile. Only for a few days or so, but to keep a long story very short, Billy got into a little bit of fun back on Thursday and figured I just need a bit of a short break for everything. It has been a bit weird not having like my Discord open, which I normally do, and bits and pieces, but literally apart from this video, making it and uploading it, I'm having absolutely nothing to do with any kind of social media for the rest of the week. And I'm sure I'll come back on Monday and find that the world has surely passed me by once again. But it's a bit unusual, but there's something kind of nice to it, I would admit. Just kind of purging yourself of it from time to time has its advantages, and especially in this world where it's all just around us and everything like that, and it's kind of I don't even engage in all that much social media. But with so many things around, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, your TikToks, all those bits and pieces, sometimes it's nice just to have a few days away and remind yourself that it's not the be all end all of existence, and you can just kind of, you can live without it. We all did once upon a time, although it gets harder and harder to remember those days, admittedly. Anyways, on to more relevant things. What's going on with the channel? We have come, well, not quite finished yet. We're coming close to the conclusion of Sleeping Dogs. This is the Patreon request from Starfruit. And we have completed the main story. We did the first bit of little mini DLC, the Zodiac Tournament. We have the other two DLCs to get uploaded. It's all been recorded and they'll be up on the channel over the course of the next week. I gave my thoughts generally for the game at the end of the main story, and to keep it short, I'll give the TLDR version. I have largely enjoyed the experience. It's been a bit funky at times, and there has definitely been some jank, although I'm willing to put some of that down to the fact that it's a PC port, but we definitely had some very curious things happen, including the next video that's going up about like 3 minutes in, and bizarre stuff happened, which did not do the game any favors. But it's the way it goes sometimes. But I don't know. I've enjoyed the experience. I don't think I can sit here and say that I think it's been like an absolutely amazing game, but it's been very solid and enjoyable. The plot's decent, the characters are good, the surroundings that you occupy, I think, is very well fleshed out for what is admittedly a limited piece of space. And I think the devs did a decent job of it. And who knows? There's like the true crime stuff, which this is obviously originally was going to be a part of, and then wasn't. Maybe I'll find my way to that at one point. Who knows? But yeah, so the rest of the series, the two DLCs, are going up over the course of the next week or so. We've also been continuing our jaunt through Troubleshooter. This is as much kind of just a personal playthrough at this point. This is never something I was going to do and expect to get like millions of views, anything like that. This is me just kind of playing and sharing my experiences as much as anything else. For my own sanity, I could happily just play this game by myself and just go through it. But I think it is there's a lot to enjoy in this. There are some folks that have been watching throughout, like the 50, 60 parts where we're up to now. And I really do appreciate it. It's glad to know that there's some other folks that are enjoying the experience. And while some of the characters are kind of wacky, although I will say Irene never change. I think it's been a really cool experience. And it should be noted as well, it's been a bit weird for me as well. We got to a point where I was miles ahead in the series. I went and binge recorded an absolute bucket ton of this about a month or so ago. I had an opportunity to do so, and to the point where I was about like 35 parts ahead of where the series is. The good news is that's down to about 15. But there's lots of interludes at the moment. Because this is the part of the story where I was kind of like, not actually doing that much recording, but there was a lot of off-screen work going on to just kind of do bits and pieces. So there's a lot of interludes of how like characters have changed and builds and such and whatnot. But yeah, we're about 15 parts ahead now, so things are catching up. And a lot of crazy plot has happened recently. Getting to the start of like chapter 6, which is where like the real plot has now begun. In regards to like what is actually going on with Carter and all the bits and pieces there. So again, those that have been following, thank you. Hope you guys have been enjoying it. It's a wacky game. It's a big game. It gives an absolute crazy plethora of way to develop and play with your characters, and ways to kind of use them and such. There's almost too much going on at times, but I'd rather have too much of a thing than not enough. The one thing that'll be interesting, as a quick side before we do carry on here, is if I ever play an XCOM game again, having played Troubleshooter, it's going to be a very strange experience. You play XCOM, used to it being, one team makes their moves and the other team makes a move. This is not that at all. It's everyone acts independently sort of thing. With 2, 3, had a situation where there was 4 or 4, it was basically, I think officially 4 different forces at one point, and I'm at absolute bedlam. And so, going back into an XCOM game, it just seems kind of hard to imagine at the moment, but maybe that will be something to touch someday. Anyways, so what's actually going on with the channel ahead? So it's at this point, it's a little tricky to know exactly where things are going. It's a little bit of kind of waiting and seeing of how things are going to stand. I have been on the other channel I'm involved in called Hidden Assets. I co-run this with a guy called Chris, who's in Seattle. I've met him, lovely guy. And this focuses mainly on the board game Dune Imperium, which I got involved into during the pandemic. And this channel ended up getting formed, and I do commentaries of live games for the current competition. I've also recently done stuff with breaking down meta stuff, and we've got a decent community going. We play a lot of the games via Tabletop Simulator. The group, we have about 500 to 600 matches played every week. It is absolutely crazy, and it's only growing. So if you fancy watching something a bit different, then I would encourage you to go have a look. This is also being impacted by my excursion from social media. I'm just not doing anything at all for a few days, and to be honest, it is probably kind of needed. Things are going to get busy, though. We are due to announce our next big competition, which is probably running in about a month or so. And we are looking to probably get well in excess of 200 people involved in this, which is going to definitely dominate my time somewhat. And that is just the way it is. It's the way it was the last time as well. It's a big undertaking, but it's worth doing. And I do thoroughly enjoy it in the end of the day. But obviously, there's only so much time I can put between this and this, so we'll touch upon that as and when it comes. But that's just a slight warning on that front. Also, going into the Twitch, which that video paused for some reason. This mainly hasn't seen an absolute ton of use, as that guy just ganks me with a shotgun. I haven't made a ton of use of this over the past few weeks, or really the past couple of months or so. And again, this has been impacted by the fact that I have moved homes twice. That has kind of complicated the situation a little bit. I do intend to get back into using this in the near future, and very likely the first thing that I will be playing on it is going to be in a couple of weeks, and that is going to be this here, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For those of you that don't know, this is coming out in 2 weeks, and this is kind of a bit of a derivative from my Dead by Daylight days, which some of you guys will know that I played for quite a while. And while I've had some good times, being honest, outside of just, someone I know is doing some custom games, and I'm like, sure, I'll join. Other than that, my time with this is definitely done. I know they just recently did a DLC with Nicolas Cage, and pretty well received, but I just have no desire to do this anymore. Dead by Daylight, I put in my time. They did well out of me. I'm pretty good. So it is going to be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is, instead of being like a 4v1 asymmetric, it's more like a 4v3. I don't know how much life this is going to have. It's always tricky to know entirely how it's going to play out. It's hard not to look at this and kind of I think back to my days playing Resident Evil Resistance, which of course was kind of a little bit sort of similar ilk. And while I knew Resistance was not going to be particularly long for its journey, obviously I played an absolute ton and really enjoyed that game. And I do wish I got a little bit more. Obviously, the game still does exist as such, but there's no way we're going to be continuing on with that. But that's a discussion for another time. Anyways, getting back onto the topic here. So this is August 18th, which is a week Friday. So I will likely be playing this plenty over the course of said weekend. On top of that as well, The weekend afterwards, I'm not around. I'm going to be in London, but I do intend to play it. Yeah, definitely a lot that weekend. Probably some bits and pieces around, and a lot of that, if not vast majority, will be streamed on Twitch. If folks have got the game and want to join, they can feel free to do so. And I think this will be a good experience on the whole. Lastly, I just want to make a note of as well, we do have a Patreon for the channel, which is where some of the games that have been played, recommendations have been sent from. Again, a huge thank you to everyone who does support me through this. It's something that I probably should push, but I don't particularly, for reasons. Like I've never really done this for like the cash or anything. I do it as a way to enjoy myself and share my experiences and to meet folks, and I've managed to do all of those things over the course of nigh on 11 years. Man, I probably shouldn't think about that. That's a long time. Anyways, it should be noted that as we've done in previous trips on the Twitch specifically, and September has been the month of the beginnings of like the Raffle and all the Resident Evil stuff. Admittedly, I haven't gotten around to really heavily playing it out. I have talked about Resident Evil Outbreak, however. It might not happen this year. Again, this is partially due to the fact of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to be kind of occupying that space. And it kind of depends to see how this comes out. Like, if we play this and it's actually, it's not really working itself out, I might do so. But we've done the Raffle, like, I was looking back, I was going through some videos. I think I've done the Raffle like 5 years straight. And some of those raffles have been very long. The last raffle, of course, started in September, effectively, and didn't finish until February, which is a very long time. And to be honest, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long since we've last played it. And this is not a case of, like, I don't want to do more Outbreak. Like, it's obviously a good game. It's one of the things I'm probably known the most for. But it's very possible we are going to just have a bit of a break of it over the course of this October and such, and just this winter. Again, couple the fact that there's going to be a big comp involved in and organising. I'm also possibly going to be out of the country for like a week some point. It's very possible that's going to happen. So if there was ever a time to maybe have a bit of more extended break from it, this might be the time, but we'll kind of play that as we go. I simply don't know. I do still intend, however, to kind of put together, like I've done in previous years, kind of like goals for like September and September going to October. It's kind of the only part of the time of the year that I kind of try and push that. And I have got some ideas of some series that I think might be of interest to you guys and you might like, but I've got to put those details together, so I'll let you know as and when I do. But I think there'll be some good stuff. But yeah, it's a case of like basically this is this, and like I'll probably be back in like a week or and a half, 2 weeks maybe, and give you a more proper idea of what things are. Admittedly, being in social media exile does make some things kind of tricky to organize on occasion, and this has not just been like from a social media. It's just been just a bit of a personal break for me, just to have 2 or 3 days away from just everything. While I still can, because I'm not going to have the opportunity for much longer. Other than that, though, I think that's pretty much it for this. So I do thank you all for watching and listening and supporting. And, a lot of you guys are probably way too nice to me than you probably ought to be. I do kind of get that feeling sometimes. Justified or not, I don't know. But it's... I think the thing I have realised, and this is partially, again, why I'm kind of been doing what I've been doing this week, is moving twice has been very mentally exhausting. And it's not the fact I've not just been moving twice, there's been a lot going on, moving towns. There's been some admitted domestic issues, which were happening before I got to where I am currently. And I think I've only just kind of started realizing how much that has just taken out of me mentally. And I have just kind of tried to blast through and push on. And some recent events have made me realize that it's not going to work. I just need a few days just to have a break from everything, just to myself, do my own bits and pieces. I've still been recording a little bit of troubleshoot here and there. But just having like a weekend, just doing me, watching documentaries, I might watch a movie or something, and just kind of piecing things together, Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes your body just tells you, you know what, You just need a mental recharge, and that's, I think, where we're at here. So yeah, we'll have that little break. We'll come back in a to the fold next week. I'll be back with another update video probably in about a week or so, giving you the proper details once I've meted it all out, and we'll rock and roll from then. So, thank you for the patience that a lot of you guys have shown over the past couple of months. It is hugely appreciated. I sometimes don't do the best of jobs of saying thanks. It's something I'm not the best at occasionally. Like, I am grateful. Don't think I'm not. It's just sometimes it's easy to take stuff for granted, Anyways, I'm babbling on here. We need to end this video. Thank you for listening, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your weekends, and I'll speak to you soon.